What a mess. I have to do a stream on cleaning the place up. So let's see what we got going here. Yeah, looks like we're up and running. Tonight what I'm doing is I'm making some ribs. And how I make these ribs is stack sanding. And I'm going to show you how to do it. I've cut my blanks already to the approximate size. And now I can't find my wrench. I'm going to have to take a day just to clean the mess up. Come on. I had the wrench. Well, I guess I'll use pliers. It's a relatively easy process. You just make your root and tip rib template, draw a center line on it, and then you're going to have to drill a couple holes down through the wood. And I'm not going to be able to show you that on the stream, but we'll leave the stream run while I do it. So here's our rib set for the inboard side. 12 ribs ready to go. And we'll do the outboard side. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12. So when I do this, I normally tape them together so they don't move. I'm going to be sanding them too, so it might be a little noisy. Now, I'm going to drill down through this, but there's no drill bit that will make a perfect hole. So what I've done is I've taken an arrow shaft that's the correct size and I've modified it. And I'll show you that after I drill the hole. So let me drill these real quick. You know what, I'll show you that now because this arrow shaft is filled up with wood. So I've taken a piece of arrow shaft in this length and I cut it and sanded it on the belt sander, perfectly square on the end. And then I cut a slot in it this way. I sanded the outside, I skived the inside with an X-Acto knife. This is an aluminum arrow shaft. And I cut a slot in it this way. And this is what I'm using as a drill bit to make a perfect hole. Because a drill bit will tear up the wood. And if you look, it's made two perfect holes. So now we're going to bolt the tip rib and the root rib together on this setup. Make sure these are correct. Yeah. Yeah, perfect. Okay. You want to keep them steady. You don't want to move them around because these are not 3/8 bolts. They're 5/16 bolts, so it's close enough. I've shown this several times on other videos, how to make rib sets relatively quick. You can do this so fast it's ridiculous. I didn't even announce this stream was going on tonight, and I got 2 watching, so pretty good. I guess they're getting announcements. Can't believe I lost my wrench. 5/16. If you want to talk to me, type it in the chat box on YouTube. You have to be on YouTube. I should have done this in the first place instead of trying to make that other style wing. I mean, it would have been all right, but I'm trying to make a airplane that's close to classic. So now I'm going to put it on the bandsaw, and I'm going to cut around the root rib with a bandsaw to take some of this excess material off. That'll take a second. Pretty wavy, wavy cut on that one. That's all right. And now I'm going to put it on the belt sander, and it will take less than a few minutes to make all these ribs. I do apologize that you can't see what I'm doing. Now we got it pretty close here now. It's going to go up my hand. Okay, that was 2 minutes of sanding. So now I take the 80 grit or 30 grit sanding block, and we'll finish them off down to the templates. There is no way you could cut a set of ribs any faster except if you had a laser cutter or pin router or something like that. Shit. I'm dusty. Wrench. And then we'll go go with the hollowing out of the damn thing and the cutting of the notches. And finish it off with 80 grit. Make them nice. Now, if you can cut these templates out of metal, aluminum, or some type of steel, that'd be cool. Because then you couldn't sand into the metal. But I've done this so many times, wood has been good enough. I know when to quit sanding. So now we have 24 ribs cut. I did the other ones off camera. They took the same amount of time. No time at all. Cut all the notches in the leading edge at the same time. And sand it out. Now, I've tried in the past to cut all the spar notches at the same time. Never worked out very well. So I come up with another way. I had already marked it out on the pattern here where the spar goes. So we're going to connect the dots. That's where our notches go. Now, I've mentioned in the past how I cut these notches too. Boy, dust. Didn't quite get it right there. So what I'm going to do to check this, I'm going to put the plug back in it, the valve shaft. Yeah, so kind of thought it was when I felt it move. So we'll have to fix that by doing what here? Remember, there are no mistakes, so well, there's a lot of mistakes. It's just none that you can fix them all. So, yeah, I noticed here that I didn't quite get this sanded down to the rib template, and would that matter? I don't know. Probably not. But if you're building something precision, you know, you might as well get it as close as you can. Only take a second to set it up and resand it. See, that was worth it. And a little bit on this side too. So let's do this one. I'm sure this is extremely boring. I don't know. You know, it's not like my movies, and those are extremely boring. So I want to run that down through there. Used to watch Windy and say, well, that's as exciting as watching paint dry. So we got them cut. Those are close enough. I ended up, when I first started this, I ended up doing a stack of 13. Well, most people would just leave out one rib and say, well, that's close enough. And you could do that. But I took one out and restack sanded it. Can't see. The dust in here is unbelievable. Okay, so now comes the task that's the most boring, and that's cutting these spar notches. So I'm going to save these. These are Continental. And you saw that how easy it was to make up the templates. This is our wing jig here. Part of it. And if I get these notches cut and the holes cut out of all these, which probably will not happen all tonight, but I need to clean up a little bit of this mess. A little room to work. So now you see why I like scratch building. It's not very difficult. You can cut the parts rather quickly. You get to choose the wood that you want. You're not set with somebody's pick of wood that's absolute rock wood. If any of you folks watching this have been building models very long, back in the days, they used to sell gallows kits, and they had different models, P40s, P51s. There's the scale kits, and they were die crush kits. And what I mean by that was they weren't cut. Though that wood was so hard, and and I guess the knife blades so dull, the wood was just crushed, and you had to cut those pieces out. And that's when I really decided, you know what? Instead of going through all this, we might as well just get the good wood and cut them out from the beginning myself. So that's when I started scratch building. So we've marked all these rib sets here where the notches are going to go. And I'm also going to mark them for hollowing. I don't really care for that notch that I did in the front of this, but it won't be a big deal. I suppose I could try to notch them this way. I haven't done this in a while. We'll try it, see what happens. Yeah, it'll work. So, to speed things up, we're going to notch them all at the same time, doing it this way. And I don't recommend this because I've never done it, but I don't see why it won't work. So now I'm going to need a piece of 1/4 inch. That's 3/8, or sure looks more than 1/4. It's a big 1/4, but that's what it is. I guess we'll cut up some spar material. Come on now. I know you're here. I saw you earlier today. Basically what I'm doing is I'm going to make up a stick to sand that spar notch in, similar to this, only I'll just do it by hand. Maybe it's in here. Ah, there it is. Okay, so Stayed straight as an arrow. Now normally when I do this I try to use a piece of hardwood, but I don't have any hard basswood 1/4 inch. But I did have a couple of sticks already stripped here, so let's do this. Okay, that's going to be for that. So I'm going to take a piece about 6 inches long, cut it. I don't have any hardwood, like I said, but we're going to make hardwood. Take some CA. Harden it up. Okay, instant hardwood. Need a grit sandpaper. We'll make it lengthwise. Now, when you do this, you don't put sandpaper all the way around. You only put sandpaper on one side of the stick. If you put sandpaper on 3 sides of the stick, yeah, it will more than likely sand much easier going down through there. But the gap will be too wide, so basically what you end up with is a stick that looks like that. Then we're going to notch these. You could do this if you were making a D-tube. You could take a piece of 1/8 inch and sand the notch down through there so all the notches were in the same spot. I was going to do these one at a time, but thought about it for a minute. And okay, there's the notches in one side. I want to make sure that I get them exactly parallel. Please. Start there. Start on the front here. Any questions? This is the Zen of building. It's Well, you could do it on a table saw. And I can think of a dozen ways to do this with a router or table saw, jigsaw. But if you do it like this, the notches will be perfect. There we go. Go to the other side. This is outboard. Yeah, perfect. I could have done the, let's do that too. Might as well do this too. I'm not sure if these videos help. I hope they do. Close enough. The only thing I don't like about the rod method is where the rods end up. I'm probably going to have to make up some new could I do that? It doesn't, when you, I wonder if that'll work. When you drill a hole back here, the rods are a little too far apart to hold the wing perfect. I'd like to have it one on each end. But the problem is when you hollow them out, you cut right through I can't do it. Or can I? I guess I could split the difference. I don't know, I'm going to have to think about that for a while. I built them this way before, so I'm not going to worry about it. So, I also just noticed something else I could do to make it more perfect. Perfect is a good thing. In and out, 3 at a time. Okay, for the ones that just joined, I made up this sanding stick. And we're sanding notches in the ribs. When this video is finished, you can go back and see how these ribs were made. It took less than 5 minutes to make all these ribs. It takes longer to hollow them out. Than it does to actually make them. I just thought of a way to figure out if I did my job right. We'll see how that works out. So, what's going on here? Just gonna get these right first. There we go. Pretty close, pretty close. Off a little bit right there, but that's okay. So that's basically how I make ribs. I will I'll probably just cut these centers out offline. I appreciate you coming and watching me do this. I put a lot of time into Stunt Hangar. I put a lot of time into model airplanes. I'm hoping that some of this stuff gets passed on. I know some of the older guys, you know, most of the older guys know exactly what I'm doing here. So, till I see again, I'm not sure how the streaming is going. They don't seem to be as well received as the movies. It is a lot easier for me to do the streaming because I don't have to edit them. It's already uploading to the internet now. But I think that I probably should make some movies instead of doing the streaming, because that way you get to see more in detail of what I'm doing. Because we have 3 different cameras going. So I'm going to cut this video. I appreciate you watching. Until I see you again, fair winds and tight lines. See ya.